That is the classic TSM move at this point in a best of 5. I really wonder whether Cloud9 is going to switch up their bans here. They've been putting 2 bans at Lust Cena or Lust Boy.
Yeah, can't see him.
I mean, with the first ban Thresh, it looks like that third ban could be Janna. I'm hoping that their third ban is on a jungler here, so that they can either force Team SoloMid to ban the other one, or they can deny, because they're really trading Sejuani and Gragas here, and there they go. They do ban the Urgot and the Gragas.
Perfect. So here's the thing as well. I feel like Cloud9 needs to win Champion Select to win the game altogether. With Santorin and Bjergsen both coming off perfect games last game, 508 for Bjergsen, Santorin 1014. They are riding very high and not much can stop them, even on level play. You're going to have to play better. TSM right now is just getting all the advantages they want. Nautilus is the advantage for Lemon. He finally gets to pick that up in the series.
I liked what happened here where by Cloud9 banning one jungler, they necessitated the ban from Team SoloMid on the other main power jungler. Gragas and Sej are the 2 main power junglers on this patch for these 2 teams. Therefore, Team SoloMid had to drop one of their bans, which unlocks Lemon Nation to play Nautilus. Really nice stuff here.
What will it be? Because this actually puts a lot of pressure on the junglers now. They've been able to just sit back on Sej and Gragas. Now it's different.
Nunu is the team fighting jungler. Vi is the denial jungler here because Meteos and Santorin have both kind of carried games. I'm surprised that Santorin didn't kind of leave this to later. His Nidalee has been off the charts good in a lot of these games. And instead of doing a reactive pick, they just preemptively say, Meteos, nope, you're not going to carry this one on Vi. Making sure Santorin plays it.
Well, that also means High has to be careful in his pick. So far, they just go for the Zac and the safety of Sivir as well for Sneaky once again.
I like it.
Very comfortable with those pickups. Kalista Kennen, no second thought about that one as Bjergsen locks that in for Lustboy.
No Janna today for Lustboy. His Kennen has been so effective.
It really has.
Stopping turret dives, ganking mid, has not been punched at all in lane. His laning has been very strong on it. Really just a solid pick for him to pick up. Normally it's Lemon Nation who's picking up the newer support picks, but this time Lustboy beats him to the punch.
Wow, the fast lock. He goes back to his Zed, something he went towards very much so at the end of the split. Almost had 3 or 4 games in a row on that Zed before people started taking it away from him again. And the Vladimir, again, it's going to be locked in for balls now.
Zed, not typically something you play into a team-fighting tanky team, but looking at TSM's composition, since they banned away the main jungle tanks, they banned away the main tank mid laner, Urgot, and they're looking at that. TSM has 3 squishy people already. What do? What's the question? Pick an assassin, classic Cloud9.
Yeah, mid lane Deer, do it. But if he plays Nadu Deer, then he's not mid lane Deer, and we're okay. What will High
of all the champions to hover? Why
or
would
rather say Bjergsen decide. Watch Bjergsen take that, and he does play Janna. Ooh, the Cho'Gath.
They got to go with something tanky in the mid lane, so High can't assassinate it. Silence as well is awesome against Zed. This is a smart pick here for Bjergsen.
Really locks it out. High maybe thinking he can just kill Lustboy whenever he wants since he doesn't focus that Zanya's, but you got to be careful. Fade's Call will also save that. A lot of very tricky plays and untargetable people here to come into this game. The Vladimir pickup is going to balls. Most likely, we'll see that coming out of the top lane. He should definitely be able to do very well in the 2v1 here as Vlad. We'll see if they play that any different here.
Yeah, I like this. This is really something different than what's been happening in this series.
I was about to say, Cloud9 hasn't done that yet.
I didn't like Cloud9's bans last game because they mimicked Game 1 bans in a series that had momentum slightly for Team SoloMid. It was proven that Team SoloMid was going to be winning with the same pick bans. Time to change it up. Because of that, Cloud9 gets a classic composition. CC from the support jungle role, damage from everybody else. And it puts them in a comfort zone, hopefully, against TSM, who is now moved off a little bit. Bjergsen on Cho'Gath, not the biggest playmaker.
Right.
He actually lost to Cloud9 on Cho'Gath in the final game of the regular season. And this is a pick and ban that could set us up for Game 5, unless TSM makes an outplay, in my opinion.
The trophy. Taking a look on at the games, wondering whose house it will be in at the end of the day. And right now it's looking like Team SoloMids as they've been coming out strong. But like you said, Cloud9 deciding to switch things up in the bans and now hopefully coming out with a composition that'll trick TSM. Let us know who you think has the edge going into Game 4. Send either hashtag C9win or hashtag TSMwin to @LOL Esports, and we will tally your votes up throughout the game. Very interested to see this Bjergsen Cho'Gath pickup. He can really wreak havoc or just be a nuisance in the mid lane with that. How will High coordinate his ganks, his attacks as well? Definitely leads into a game where Cloud9 can kind of go to their 1-3-1 if they want to start getting a split push on. It's a real good way they spread their enemy out thin and start to pick them off.
How much of a factor will Santorin be on Vi as well?
That's great. We got 2 different junglers coming in for the entire series now.
It's a pretty big factor already. Look at those recall animations.
Absolutely dancing around. Still going.
Yeah. So, biggest change that Cloud9 needs to make early on is figure out what they want to do with this early jungle, because they got outplayed last game. The supports have been making very aggressive invades on the side where they think the enemy jungle is starting, but this game more than ever, we actually have the most defensive wards we've had yet. So scouting where someone is going to start the jungle becomes increasingly difficult. It looks like TSM may end up guessing it properly. For Lustboy, he's going to be trying to invade this Cloud9 start. Now, will Cloud9 start at blue buff, or will they start at Gromp and then transition to blue buff? If they do the latter and Lustboy invades quickly, they may have some issues taking the blue buff. We'll have to track this because Lemon Nation is also in position to harass the TSM jungle.
He has not taken a skill just yet. We'll probably head in with that Riptide so he can get a bit of AoE and slow for the harass and no chase. Here we see Lustboy making his way over. Oh.
It's a mid lane move that a lot of people use with Maokai. And Lemon, well, there's some early harass from both these guys. What a monster. Santorin doesn't have Smite.
He's also playing it perfectly. Dyrus now being the one to be in front of that. Santorin's going to have to walk right out of this one. And what a job by Lemon Nation. Repeats again. Can the same thing happen over here? No, it's actually High who already came out. A flash goes down, and they know that's enough to return and hit that lane later. They're not going to try to pressure it.
As he comes right back, despite not having flash.
The fearless Kennen.
Man, so this is why TSM has been banning all this. For one, Lemon Nation's level 1 harass in the jungle. That's the best support for level 1 harass. This time as well, Cloud9 makes a nice adaptation. High actually forgoes a little bit of experience in the mid lane to help them take at least 2 camps during the double jungle, whereas Santorin still sitting on level 1 3 minutes into the game. So this time, successful jungle denial. Meteos will be ahead of Santorin early on.
This will be the test now. If Santorin can get through this jungle, he's definitely been able to fix all the problems that any LCS player would put him up against in the early game. Did it last game quite effectively. Meteos going very, very low. Gets his smite out at the last second there. Get level, get his help.
Yeah. Now, the other problem that happened for Cloud9 in the last game, side lane wave control. The second thing they have to do to get out of this early game properly. It's a very similar start to last game, so that's why you have to directly compare these things. Will Dyrus be able to soak experience? Doesn't look like it. The wave is actually being frozen against him properly this time, so Dyrus should be denied. Balls, it's not all sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows up there either.
Nope.
He is also getting denied 0 CS and no CS close either.
I don't think Vlad likes those kind of things anyways. It's just not the type. He is going to head into the jungle, however. Seems like they're going to do a little double jungling here to make sure Meteos can keep himself at a good rate of getting through the jungle. He wants to stay very much ahead of Santorin here and give him no chance to come back. High is already back, brings 2 long swords to the lane now, 24-22. Looks like Santorin's actually going to be staying here now, so High may be able to get some good trade damage down being up in that lane.
Yeah.
A little bit of armor for Bjergsen. Keep him safe.
Pretty good start, all things told, for Cloud9. Nice early jungle harass. The jungle upgrade for Meteos first. High sticking with Bjergsen early. And the threat of supporter jungler gank is diminished because Lustboy's flash was burned during harassment, and Santorin was destroyed early on in the jungle. Therefore, High gets to play somewhat aggressive against Bjergsen's Cho'Gath.
It'll be nice for him at least this game. He has been definitely on the back foot for Bjergsen. All the ganks have been going at High, making sure to shut him down. We'll see what the Freedom provides for him this time. Right now, they're getting a nice steal over here on the blue. Make it out quite easily as well. Good focus here from Cloud9 to put something on the plate early. Shouldn't really affect Bjergsen too much, as he can just stay in that lane and keep regenning with his passive. It's even CS all around. Still watching how Meteos is getting himself through, though. No CS for balls just yet.
Yeah, big wave hitting the turret up top for Cloud9. They're going to give that up in order to get the Dragon on their side. Be interesting to see if TSM can finish off that turret, and also whether Sneaky will push the bottom lane, because it looks like Cloud9 is holding the freeze for longer, and that means they would not be able to trade a turret if that happens.
Yeah, quite a bit of damage. 10% on that top turret. Ooh, he thought he was going to have the bite, but High got out of range. He couldn't see him. He stays, though. Dyrus is the one to come in. The flash twisted advance to pick up first blood. There's the knockup from Rupture, but no follow-up damage after everything has been expent. Lemonation puts himself in a very bad situation. The anchor toss will come back up quicker with hitting that terrain, but I don't think he's going to be able to get out. He was in a bad spot, and the error calculated by Team SoloMid.
Pretty big error there by Lemon Nation. Yeah. That's the second poor flash he has had in this series. First one being where he flashed directly behind a Scion ultimate and still died. So, big time moves for TSM there. Bjergsen specifically hitting level 6 as he hit the Rupture, forcing the double flash there in the mid lane. And second game in a row where Dyrus gets first blood. That is so key when he is getting denied in these lane swaps to be 5 CS. 7 minutes into the game, but to have that first blood kill puts him a good 600 gold ahead of Balls' Vladimir at this point in the game.
What a collapse there by TSM. Their communication is definitely on point, where it seems it took a few seconds there for C9 to really act. See if they can keep it going. It's only very, very early in the game. We still have plays here to be possibly made by High carrying from the mid. Sneaky and Lemon back to lane, and that vote swayed way back in the favor of TSM.
Monster plays in the mid lane right there, picking up 2 kills off of pretty much nothing. They just kind of appeared in the mid lane. Bjergsen landed all of his skill shots. Dyrus arrived at the right time. TSM is 1 game away from winning the North American LCS Spring Split.
See how they do now. All these lanes are matched back up, so Balls and Dyrus are going to be able to farm themselves quite nicely. And that is big for Balls, as he was pretty much getting nothing in the beginning of this game. Still paying attention to how Cloud9 is taking these buffs. So far hasn't really impacted the game. Bjergsen still was able to get something out of mid lane. So C9 is kind of fighting their own battles that aren't giving them results just yet.
Yeah, and already they have to come back from behind. Which they did in game 1 to their credit, but a 2,000 gold lead 8 minutes in is actually rather large. Callista Cannon as well has a lot of kill threat. If Lustboy can get experience. He's level 3 on Cannon right now. So not worried about that yet for a while.
You see the AD carries and you think it's soon, but nope, the supports, they've been roaming all day. What will be the play in the bottom lane? Lemon Nation walks away for just a second and cannot be continued by Sneaky, as he wants to wear those Ren stacks off before heading back into the fight. Smartly done as well. Not too many core items coming out, just the first of recipes around the map as well. BF swords for the 80 carries, that Cutlass, and the Fiendish Codex for the mid laners. Oh, there's a great trade.
Yeah, nice little trade back there by Cloud9. Revenge for Wild Turtle's damage on Sneaky. This time Lustboy could no longer enter a fight safely. Sneaky been the bright spot for Cloud9 this series. Even in the games they're losing, he's able to make some clutch plays. They're really going to need him to do well here, as Balls will take a long time to ramp up on Vladimir.
Literally almost killing Wild Turtle there. Yeah, well, with the time they're giving themselves, they have a lot of breathing room to stay down here. farm this one out. We'll see how much turret damage they try to put on this one, as Balls gets all the time to farm this in the top lane. You can see he wasn't having the easiest time against Dyrus, but he was also letting his lane push because he didn't have a turret.
Ooh. High even trying to roam down there for a potential dive, but because he actually got spotted by a pink ward without checking the brush, there's a chance that TSM is waiting for High to return.
Well, they're definitely pushing his lane, making sure he has to take control of it once again. At least getting something to work there.
Even under the turret, those guys are tanky enough that if High gets in range for a Maokai W, he would die.
At this point, he definitely has to be careful. I wouldn't put it past Dyrus and Bjergsen to go in for that anyways. Coming from the bottom side, Lustboy thinks it's something they can get as well. He looks to actually just show himself right in the mid lane for a bit of pressure. Not real ganking. Great damage coming out of Maokai here in the early game. Dyrus again going for the 2-ring build. Could be right into that Righteous Glory once again.
Probably.
Once you extend it already.
Yeah, it's true. Seems to be what TSM wants to go for the initiation potential.
Yep.
It's actually, I'd say, the more common Maokai now.
Yeah.
Is the Righteous Glory rather than the Rod of Ages.
It's weird. You don't think it'll work the same, and you're like, wow, this is actually really great.
I'm really fast and super tanky. All right.
All right, so good pressure here in the mid. I like that Bjergsen has turned off those Vorpal spikes to make sure he doesn't grab any silly aggro as it
High's in trouble
flies
here.
by.
Shadow down and Rupture
Oh,
lands.
Rupture does hit right after Shadow comes, but they also know seems a little too quiet here on the home front. Maybe not. Bjergsen wants to go in. Over the wall comes Meteos, but he's quickly punched in the jaw as he bounces around from Santorin. Looks like they should be able to grab this with a big wave coming.
Yeah, they got a big wave. Cloud9 still a little bit dangerous. High, flash
Whoa,
back.
all the way back to High. That's going to be the hit out as well. Fate's Call chucks Lustboy back in. He's going to die, throwing down Flash and Exhaust in that one.
Oh,
and TSM
no.
finding a bit of what they want here. 2 kills already, and Balls was almost in the wrong spot there at the right time for TSM.
2-for-1 trade, and the turret there. Sneaky was trying to farm off in the bottom lane. Now trying to come in on the backside of this fight. He's got to be incredibly careful.
Oh, thought he was going to let fizzle out.
May as well just take the dragon.
Might as well. So Cloud9 definitely has to start putting on the damage control. Things are not looking good, especially with the momentum of 2 games now behind Team SoloMid and the taste of victory right on the tip of their tongue here.
Going to try a steal against Callista. Really hard to do.
Flew right over. Let's bounces down from that last engage. Remember, cannot get the slow on either. It looks like he will not be able to blob about well enough for the team to pick up kills. Team SoloMid get out with another turret there in mid lane, a few kills, and then back to Dragon.
Yeah, and Cloud9's in a really tough spot here. Down turrets, down kills, even in Dragons. Down in the series, knowing they have to win both this game and the next if they want to take the crown here in North America. Slight desperation mode might kick in for Cloud9.
Yep.
When that's kicked in so far this series, or even in IM Katowice, desperation mode for Cloud9 is a very dark place. You do not want to go there as Cloud9. They overcommit, their smart play goes out the window. They need to remain controlled here. The 5-man push up the mid lane during recalls was smart. They do not need to turret dive. They just need to continue to trade objectives like Cloud9 did in their Game 1 victory.
Dark Cloud9. You don't want that.
Yeah.
That's the Thunderstorm. It's not working out for them. Here, looks like they have drifted towards the top lane, however. And TSM, not too worried about these outer turrets going down. It might be more of a danger for them to try and put protection on it, so they hold steady. Dyrus is going to be able to trade here in the bottom as he gets that Righteous Glory built up safely. And both teams are going to back. Oh, just take it down. You got big fists. 73 to 47 is the out of that top lane, though. Definitely a pretty big disparity.
He wants to deny some CS, but the cannon lives, most likely. Yep.
That one time when you were like, minions, don't be so strong? No one ever said that. 14 minutes on this. TSM cracks a little bit more of the outside of the base as they themselves lost the top turret here. But Cloud9 is still, I think, waiting for TSM to make moves. They're not really the one that's going to be putting their foot out there first.
Well, they need to get a little bit later in the game. So
that's true. Just buy some time.
Vladimir can have an impact is the main thing. Although the mid-game power spike, once again, at Bjergsen's mid laner is really hard to deal with. I mean, a couple of things coming into the series we thought might hinge it. Bjergsen and his ability to shut down High. Well, he has in most of these games, and Bjergsen's been an absolute force to be reckoned with in the mid-game or the late game, and tilts these matchups heavily. The second thing, though, is that Dyrus has actually been outperforming Balls in a global sense. They're mainly just the beneficiaries of support player lane swaps, but the TSM lane swaps have actually given Dyrus several advantages here. And that means the lone bright spots for Cloud9 would either be Meteos, who's been getting outfarmed by Santorin in most of the games, including this one, or Sneaky, who has actually been outperforming for the most part in CS. But you can't just have one guy. You need the whole team to be able to outperform in order to win a series. And that's why TSM may end up winning this one 3-1 if Cloud9 doesn't somehow come back from this 3,000 gold deficit.
Well, right now they are sitting on just the perfect amount of kills. They have 4. It's across their priority targets as well. Everybody has 1, so they are getting fed accordingly. And Cloud9 is only looking for the wave clear here. TSM knows they have C9 against the ropes, and they're going to continue to pressure this. You were talking about how kind of Dyrus is also outplaying Balls. Like the way with the bans against Balls, they almost forced him to play the Dyrus game of safety. You're not going to be providing much for the team, and all year Dyrus has been playing that, so he's going to be better at it on the spot.
Yeah, heavy Hecarim bans. When Cloud9 has been on the red side, TSM has been banning Vladimir as well.
Right.
So this time at least Balls is on the Vladimir, but in the early game he's heavily shut down. So it's not like he's been able to lane against Maokai and assert his dominance.
Exactly. Also looking for the pressure here from High, one of his most winningest champions that he could have selected here, especially in the finals. That puts a lot of pressure on him, being the shot caller and the one to be one of the priority playmakers here on Zed. And it doesn't look like right now he's going to get the chance to zero out too many people with that death mark.
Yep, defensive builds across the board. Cinder Hulk on Vi. Cho'Gath, very, very strong man. Unless you get into Burn of Silence, he can wait for the death mark to silence you. Bloodthirster on Wild Turtle for the extra shield, and Kennen can ult himself to stun Zed when he goes in. So really High, relegated to split pushing or hoping to come in late during a team fight. Or maybe just ulted in a side lane. He's dead.
Everybody coming in for the fight here. Look at Bjergsen has even chugged a sorcery elixir 16 minutes into the game to add more damage to his Cho'Gath this time. Last time it was the Kog'Maw, but they want to make sure the points of spiking in their damage is right now.
It's getting to a point where Bjergsen's just going to hit level 9 and go buy an elixir. At this point, he's building it earlier in every game.
Every time.
The spike that TSM wants in power. This time, after just a Morellonomicon and a Seekers, he goes for it. But they end up getting a kill, and now they have an odd man fight. Down bottom, more turns.
Wow. Really seeing that each game so far. Obviously, this game has a lot to go, but games 2 and 3, games that TSM used to calibrate what they were doing, get the organization together. A very textbook start and roll to this game. 18 minutes in, 5K gold lead as TSM plays very calm and collected.
And 2 levels in the top lane matchup.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if Vladimir wins that matchup against Maokai if he's never getting experience. Maokai can then take it back on his side. 15 seconds till Dragon Rib. I think that's a really important thing here. TSM just needs to control that. They even have the teleport advantage, so the best that Cloud9 could hope for is that TSM commits Dyrus to the Dragon fight. Cloud9 needs to find a way of committing Dyrus to the Dragon fight without suffering any casualties so that Vladimir can get farmed up. That's the only win Cloud9 can take from this situation, assuming TSM plays well.
Well, Balls is backing right now. Teleport will not be up for him. Dyrus will be the one coming in here. So it looks like they may just have to give this one up again. They're warding it to show that they actually want to put some control on that area. Hopefully it buys him enough time for Balls to get back out here, but it looks like he is actually taking the path to the top lane.
I think that's what Balls should be doing. He needs to use his time to farm. But if they commit, if TSM commits Dyrus, you would hope that Vladimir can actually get multiple waves of farm and some turret pressure. Or Cloud9, they're just trying to trade objectives because TSM has so much control, especially with Bjergsen's Cho'Gath and the tank Vi to just fly in and set up an easy rupture. It's just objective trading through and through. But yeah, it's a completely forfeit there by Cloud9.
Yeah, we saw Elimination was already going toward Baron, making sure they have the ladder objectives covered to let this one go. They don't need to fall any farther behind here. Too much of a risk 5-1 here as the second dragon, actually third dragon of the game gets picked up. A second one for Team SoloMid here, reminiscent of that scoreline of last game. It was 20-4 in favor of TSM. 5-1. Keep that going. We'll get the same thing.
Looks like it. I mean,
yeah.
TSM is on the path to victory for sure here. Smart and controlled play. They do have a very low damage team composition. If this game stretches to be too late. Tank, Vi, Cinderhulk, Frozenheart, Righteous Glory, Spirit Visage, Maokai, Bloodthirster first 80 carry, Cho'Gath in the mid lane, who can burst but doesn't have sustained damage.
Right.
That team does not kill that many people late game. If it gets late game, Cloud9 could take this, but it has to get to 40 minutes somehow without the gold lead being greater than 10,000,
right,
and without TSM having 5 dragons.
Well, another 5,000 gold is what TSM is looking for right now. Nobody's going to throw a loan at them, so they have to get it themselves. Over here, Balls could be a bit of that funding. It looks like he's able to pull himself to safety here. So TSM starting to work the aggression around the map, getting any picks that they can, and the turrets are going to fall shortly here as Cloud9 is, I believe, going to start just using everything in defense to dodge these attacks from Team SoloMid. So effective.
So to be fair, that's more effective than you'd think because he broke the turret shield.
Right.
The turret shield is very little now. Once you break it on the turret, it doesn't give any shield to the people hiding there. Lustboy understands this game right here.
You saying you can't see me? Everything behind the curtain. You can see Cloud9 kind of spreading themselves thin here, walking back and forth. Lemonation is trying to tend to multiple lanes, sweep multiple wards. High going down to the bottom side here. This is Cloud9 trying to, not make a move. That turret goes down, the pressure's relieved, and he needs to go as well.
Really solid play by TSM.
Yep.
Really just controlling the rotations. 5 turrets to 3, hoping to continue that pressure, get a 6th, get all the other turrets down. Then they can start pressuring Baron, and they can take Dragon on respawn. That's the plan for TSM. If they want to win their 3rd game in a row, get another reverse sweep on their opponent. Semifinals against Team Impulse, they lost the first game, won the next 3.
Yeah.
Here against Cloud9, lost the first game, very close in game 2, carried by Bjergsen's AP Cogno.
Yep.
These last 2, though, as far as the first 20 minutes go, have been heavily in favor of TSM. They get stronger and stronger throughout these best-of-5 series. It's becoming a trademark of TSM.
Sticking with things that work as well, especially for Lustboy. After getting banned out consistently, stays with the Kennen and the Kalista 2 games in a row. Something we haven't seen all year from these guys. Really, in any other region but LPL, to be honest. They're playing it quite well, however, and definitely showing that it's something they had in the back pocket. Ace in the sleeve, if you will.
Yeah.
Looks like that Runons is finished up onto Wild Turtle. He's going to be really hard to get a lockdown on now, especially without having super hard crowd control here on the side of Cloud9. Hello. Oh, my word!
Whoa!
I was going to say he's getting dinner, but that would look like an appetizer.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, but good lord, Bjergsen is crushing right now. You know, one rupture, instantly dead.
It's
Flash,
bad
eat, ignite.
when you wins.
Whew.
That hurt me. Wow. Bjergsen, no matter what champion he is on, he is ready to flash float forward and make instant plays. The lucidity boots for him as well, allowing him to keep spitting out that crowd control and silence. And it has picked him up another kill. Now over to Baron. This is pretty much uncontested. However, here's the teleport in from Balls. They're going for broke.
Have to contest.
They're
it's a
going
23-minute Baron. TSM actually takes a fair bit of damage here. Lemonation goes really early.
Only a 2-man Hemo Plague actually going down on that. Good damage over to Turtle. Bjergsen's very hurt here. Lustboy and 400 HP just flashes over the wall, and that could easily be finished off if somebody focuses. They're tunneled onto Dyrus, though.
Oh.
How does he pop? Sneaky before he gets out. They're going to walk this one away. He's, however, bringing them over to Lustboy, and Lustboy is saying, no, you do that to me. What a hit. Gets Meteos on the slingshot over the wall. He's eventually going to go down, but he is completely buying time for the team, and Cloud9 is going to get hardly anything with TSM being down here.
TSM overestimates their ability to do Baron by far right there. 22 minutes does not fall very quickly. Bjergsen also was completely out of summoner spells before that fight. Therefore, when Cloud9 comes in, they destroyed them. Meteos gets off a Dream Ultimate, and Sneaky gets best case scenario fight. Not a Cho'Gath that can flash or feast you at any point. No cannon ultimate on Sneaky. Meteos is bouncing around.
Wow.
Sneaky is free hitting in the back because of no Dyrus until later on in the fight, and they were a sliver away from acing TSM right there if they picked off those two other guys. A horrendous call there by TSM to go for Baron. They had 6 turrets. They just had to wait for the Dragons to come up, and they give a small window for Cloud9 to come back.
That teleport from Dyrus, it looks like the entire team was just like, we have this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Really could have been used a lot earlier, but you can always say something else about the fight after it's done. Played very well there by Cloud9. 4-7 on the scoreboard as they start to scratch back without letting TSM get too much along the way. Blade of the Rune King and Last Whisper now finished up here for High. He's going to be able to start cutting through some of these tanks that got to some very early items on Team SoloMid. Bjergsen's looking for his 3rd already, 25 minutes into the game.
Death cap goes down on a Bjergsen.
It's only 500 more gold for him.
He was already one-shotting people.
Yeah. One shot the guy you want to stay alive. The guy who wants to one-shot your team. And High is not able to do that right now. This one's going to be taken down. See where Bjergsen's at right now. He is at 6 stacks. Yep, coming off of the Scuttle Crab.
Feasts up very quickly. 10,800 gold, almost 3,000 gold ahead of High.
Wow.
But the interesting thing is Sneaky at 9,700 gold, 500 more than Wild Turtle. If Sneaky gets to a point where he's got Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, and Bloodthirster, as well as his Spell Shield, and he does not get caught by any major CCs from TSM, that's the Sivir dream in this game. Because it is a bunch of tanks, Sivir can try and ricochet through them, lifesteal up with the shield. If he avoids the major spike damage, he could try and one-man carry this Cloud9 team. It's highly unlikely that that happens, but that is what Cloud9 needs to work towards.
Right now, they are trying to split it up. Split push is the name of the game here. High tends to the side waves. We already saw him try to pressure the bottom, but Cloud9 is lacking a bit of control on the map. It's just easily stopped every time by Team SoloMid right now. Maybe some forward wards, something for Cloud9 to really put themselves back in this game. What's the fastest way they stop the bleeding right now?
For Cloud9?
Yeah.
It's mainly continuing to shove out these waves and giving up dragons all the way until number 5. The hardest part about this, though, is maintaining vision control around the Baron area without TSM taking it for free. Therefore, it's really hard to avoid overall fights because there's soon to be a Righteous Glory Maokai and a Cho'Gath. I mean, we already saw what happened when Bjergsen got caught. Now Lemon gets caught. Maybe they get a nice corridor fight.
Twisted advance to pop up. Nice let's bounce there from Meteos. The team has to assess the fight on the side of Team SoloMid. They get themselves into good positioning. Bjergsen, Lustboy, and Wild Turtle all on the back line. Able to fire forward here. Now moving into the fight. You gotta watch once the train is on the tracks. You better move. And here comes Bjergsen. The rupture goes off and just misses Sneaky. Got off the tracks for sure.
Yeah, that's just the power of TSM, forcing those fights around Baron. They know exactly what they need to do, oftentimes, in order to secure victory. They just had a little bit wrong 7 minutes ago. They have to win a fight before taking Baron. They can't just take Baron. This time they get a nice catch on Lemon Nation. Dyrus miraculously stays alive. TSM takes Baron.
Strong fights coming from Team SoloMid. This fight almost actually mirrored what we saw earlier. If Meteos is on this side with Sejuani, that's the fight that won Cloud9 Game 1.
Yeah, good ultimate there, except it just hits 2 there. They didn't catch Bjergsen or Wild Turtle, that's the big thing. And positioning-wise, if we watch Sneaky, he's in a really good place right now. However, he's just not strong enough yet. You can see
Dyrus.
He can't cut through the Ninja Tabi Frozen Heart of Dyrus. If he had a Last Whisper, maybe he could, but that's only going to be in 1,000 gold. If the tank line would have gone down, then maybe Sneaky could have started doing something. But with the tank line in that corridor, until he crushes that down, they're not getting much. Now with Baron, it may be too late because Sneaky finally has his Last Whisper.
Indeed. It's going to be some big damage coming from Cloud9. Props to Wild Turtle from Dyrus there on that one. Summoner heal keeping him alive throughout that fight. Spirit Visage giving him a nice chunk to stay in it. TSM now pressuring even harder with that Baron. Now able to spread Cloud9 thin. Not the way they wanted it. They were hoping it was on their split push terms. And they're going to have to defend the base.
Giant Cho'Gath eating your turret right now. Cloud9 is not in great position. They do not want to give up an inhibitor this early in the game, but it is such a powerful TSM tank line going into their base.
It might be inevitable, chat. you're going to have to watch out. Nobody can really get by Bjergsen. He's just going to shut you up and pop you up if you try to get through to the rest of the team. And they don't even have everybody here to start doing this. Dyrus still to the top side, knows he is safe, and TSM is working the advantage textbook style now as they're about to close it out for the win.
Yeah, and Bjergsen's level 16 right now, which means his ultimate does over 1,000 true damage. Cloud9 has to fight, but look out!
It's the go for broke here from Cloud9 on their front doorstep. They try one last time to stave off Team SoloMid. They get the wave clear to make sure it has to be a tank of the turret. Now with that next wave coming in, TSM is able to start walking through. Remember, the bottom inhibitor's already down. Minions are going to start crashing in if this isn't the final push, and it's only going to get harder for Cloud9.
Yeah, it may prep the final push,
right.
though, Riv. 2 inhibitors in quick succession during the Baron buff. Plus Cena coming in pretty big this game.
Yeah.
It's mainly been that Bjergsen Cho'Gath, though. Just a monster. 1,050 damage from his feast. Also, not only does a silence shut you up, it also does close to 750 damage.
He's got some relatively low cooldown.
Yeah. The ultimate now is 1,134 damage with the Baron buff. And true damage, that is.
Ugh. You're not getting out alive. You're going to be in his belly. And that's not fun.
Yeah, they actually are getting the third push while they still have the Baron buff.
This is, if you're going to take the final game, this is the way to do it. Losing game 1, but being able to come back stronger and stronger throughout each game consecutively. Now game 3, it looks like TSM could have had this from the get-go.
Yeah, very rarely does a team come back from 3 inhibs down. Meteos take some damage. TSM needs to wait for their minions, unless Cloud9 over-engages. Here we go.
Oh, the over-engage indeed. Elimination on the outside gets bounced. Dyrus, he wants it. Dives in onto balls. The Sanguine Pool saves him just at the last second. The 1v1 of Bjergsen and High. The bite goes down, but High is alive, and Bjergsen dives to the turrets. Turtle now is the focus. Depth charge into Anchor Toss. They lock him down with the passive, but he is hopping around way too much on Kalista. Turtle a double. Turtle a triple. Turtle a quadra. Could he be coming up with a penta? High stays on the fountain. The quadra kill once again to come up with Team SoloMid's pivotal win on the North American Spring Split, and they will do it once again. The consecutive wins for Team SoloMid, the Nexus falls, and Team SoloMid are the 2015 North American League of Legends Championship Series Spring Split champions.